Hello there, this is Mad Monk. Welcome to another episode of the Theravada Buddhism talks or analysis or whatever. So today we're going to talk about, about the 12-linked chain of causation, which was one of the fundamental teachings of the Buddha. And it's also called dependent origination. Because everything is dependent on everything else, and everything is dependent on previous things. Everything has antecedents that pretty well guarantee that their existence came to be. So anyway, I want to start in on this with one of the items under 4 here, under name and form. So basically, you can say that there's form. Let's just start with that. We'll posit that there is form, that there is a physical universe, and that each of us inhabits a form, and we therefore have a name, and there are also names for all the various items that our culture comes in contact with, and all the different ideas as well. So there's name and form as sort of a basis for things. And since we have form, then we also have the 6 sense bases, or at least we have instruments to partake of and bring information in from each of the 6 sense bases. We have eyes to see, ears to hear, and so forth. And because there is form, because there's this universe of form around us, and because we exist and have these 6 sense bases, then then pretty well contact between us and our sense instruments and the world of form is a guaranteed thing, unless somehow or other we're kept from the moment we're born in a silent environment, and it's completely dark, and even then people would be using this theoretical person would be using their senses of taste and smell and touch and so forth. So in any case, there's guaranteed to be contact, because there are the 6 sense instruments and sense organs and form. Then contact occurs. Because contact occurs, then there is a sensation, whether that's a sensation of light and dark, or whether that's the sensation of the feeling of rubbing your fingers together, or whatever the sensation might be. Then an item which isn't really mentioned in this 12-link chain of causation is perception. Very shortly after sensation comes perception, and this is a conscious thing, basically, that either pain or pleasure, or maybe perhaps a sort of a neutral feeling is perceived. And because of the positive things, and also because of avoidance of the negative things, we come to crave. We come to crave, that which is beautiful or otherwise enticing, and we come to crave also to avoid things which are unpleasant. And so craving comes about, and because this craving is there, then there comes this clinging that we're willing to go to almost any lengths in order to avoid going to war, going into battle, facing various problems, whatever it might be. We cling onto things which keep us perhaps from actions we should be taking instead. And because of our clinging, which actually includes, especially on a positive note, someone's dreams, someone's deep-seated dreams. If someone went through their entire life and they always wanted to find a soulmate, and they never did. And then they're gonna have this impetus to want to be born again so that they can find that soulmate. Or maybe they did find their soulmate and then they lost them and they want to find them again in this next life or whatever. But in any case, because of our clinging and our desires and craving, then that is what guarantees further existence. And so this was perhaps the order of this doesn't necessarily exactly make sense, but because of our desire for existence, then birth comes about. Number 11 here. We're born, and then because we're born, the minute you're born, you're guaranteed to eventually die. And so, in a sense, the death process, the aging and death process begins the moment that you're born. And along with aging and death comes various pain and suffering. And so then to kind of go back there, well, so actually, let's go back to number 8, craving, and then 9, clinging. Actually, in fact, let's go back to 7 and the additional item, perception, that I mentioned there. Because we perceive things, then we come up with number 2, volitional formations, which is to say, this is pleasant, I want to pursue this in the future, or this is unpleasant and I want to avoid this in the future. So we kind of already covered that, but I just sort of missed going up there to volitional formations. And because of these various desires and so forth, these volitional formations basically make up our consciousness, along with our memory of the things that have happened to us, and the names of all of the forms that we see, etc., etc. And at the base of this, number 1 is ignorance. If we were to see the truth that we are one with everything, then we would not believe that this entire chain is there, and it would all fall apart. It's sort of a travesty. Thank you very much.